everybody. Good morning. If you were here earlier, I did a little song and dance to test the microphone out, so you missed the show, but you're here for the presentation. So I'm glad everybody's here this morning. For anybody who couldn't make it, we're going to have it on in-house television. So this is Diane, and she's through Charlotte County. And I've actually been working with her for many, many years on this Red Dot program here on our campus. She's here to give us some information about it. We're going to talk about how it's utilized and the importance of it here in the independent setting. And then I'm going to talk about an add-on program that we're going to roll out, and then we'll do some questions and answers. Okay? All right.
Good morning. My name is Diane Barton. I work with the Charlotte County E911, which is ran through the Sheriff's Department. This program, the Red Dot program, was initialized by the Fire Department. But since we dispatch for the Fire Department at the Sheriff's Dispatch Center, it was a joint partnership that we take over putting it into the CAD system, which is the computer-aided dispatch system that tells which units to respond and gives all the information. So I've been doing this, well, in June I'll be here 20 years. So I've been managing this program for that long when I took it over. It is a great program. We have about 2,000 participants in the program. We would love more people to participate because it is such a vital program. A lot of counties are now moving to the digital type program, and we feel here in Charlotte County we have such an elderly group of people that could use this medical information program that it's vital for us to keep this paper program that you fill out the program. The computer ones is that you have to take responsibility of making sure your information is current and up to date, and that you have to go in and check on it every 2 months and click that it's still current. Whereas with this written program, we've instituted that every 2 years, if we do not receive a new form from you, we will call you. So if you receive a call from our volunteer, I have a volunteer, she's a very nice lady that comes in twice a week, and she'll sit down and she makes calls. And she verifies. All she's going to ask you is your information current? Have you had any major changes? If so, you need to go and contact
Debbie. Diane.
I'm having a fog day. Contact her and you can get the form and update and send it in. The program comes with a packet which you'll receive from them, a envelope, and they're going to put a stamp on it. That way it encourages you to mail it in once you're done. So we give you the envelope and it comes right back to the sheriff's office. It comes with a form. This is a 2-ply copy. It is critical that you press completely through. And when you check and give us the yellow copy, that everything is legible. The reason being is if we need to contact your next of kin, for some reason something happened from here to the hospital, the EMS will call us and ask the dispatchers to look up the form and contact your next of kin. Yes, it helps out them here. They probably already have that information, but this is to be used by the hospital and the personnel that takes you to the hospital. And the dispatchers are the ones that help them. So if they can't read it, it's no good to them. This form will have a place for 2 people. So you fill out one column for yourself and one column if there's another person living with you. you'll put your name, your doctor's information, any critical, they have like 15 questions that are critical, that is useful to the EMS. And then you can put your medication on this form. But what I recommend, and what we're telling people, is that you, in the medication and supplement area, just mark C attached form. And then write a separate list and put that in your pouch, because your medication always change. That way you don't have to change the whole form and redo the whole form. You just do a medication list and put in there. Also, there is a hospital information where if you want them to, it's not a DNR, but it's similar. It tells them, yes, I want ventilator, I want feeding tube, or whatever. It just gives them a heads up. If you have a DNR on file, that's fine. This just gives you a quicker option that they know what they can and can't do right there, without having to look for your DNR information. The program also comes with a pouch. This is your red dot pouch. This is what you fold up your copy, which is the white copy. The white copy is what the fire department, if they need to, they don't always take it because they don't always need it, so don't get upset if they don't take it. It's there if they need to take it. The same with the folder or program that they're going to talk about. It's there if they need to take it. They might not take it, but it's available. So you'll fold up this white, you'll fold up your medication list, and you'll stick it in this pouch, and you put it on your refrigerator. You want to have it visible. Reason it was called the Red Dot program is back before we had programs that we could scan the documents and stuff in. All we could do is say red dot into a note field, and that would alert the fire department. But also, if it didn't show up in CAD, in the computer program, the red dot on the door would tell them that they could go to your refrigerator and get the information. Nowadays, since we have new computers and stuff, the red dot isn't necessary to put on your door. And at this facility, you don't put a red dot on your door for this program. Like I said, we already scan the form in now. We have more capability of notifying fire EMS and law enforcement that you are a participant. Every 2 years we call. We never ask for vital information. So if someone says we're with the Red Dot program and they start asking you for information, tell them, thank you, we'll contact Jerry and all the different people here, and they'll help us fill out the form. Don't give them any information. My volunteer will just ask you, is it current? And if it's not, pick up a new form and mail it in to us. We cannot take any information over the phone. We cannot change any of the data that you have on your form. So the only thing we can do is, if you do have a partner and one of you pass away, we can make X's across until you can get the new form into us. That is it. That is the only thing that we change on the form. And that's to update and let them know that are coming that there's only one person now living at this place and that address. We do put your unit numbers into our system, so when you say the address here, and you gotta make sure that you get the right address, building number. We worked very hard the last 20 years to give each of these buildings their own address number, instead of one address for this whole complex, because that speeds up the response. So if you're at what is it, 25,
23053.
then that's where they go to that building. And then they go to, and there's address points on that building for your your G and R's and all that. So they'll know which building those letters are in. And then what we do is when you call and you say your address, it pops up a screen with the whole list of every red dot participant in that building. And then they can click on your number. And then your form comes up on the screen. And all your information, your critical medical health is right there for them to relay to the fire personnel, EMS personnel. It is a very good program, and I hope you spread the word. I was hoping to see more people here today, but spread the word of this program because it can and will save someone's life possibly, especially if you have allergies or you have a critical medical thing that they can know ahead of time to prepare to bring stuff off the truck to help you. So if you want to introduce your new program, and then we'll take questions.
Okay, everybody. So I'd like to reiterate a couple of things that Diane has talked about. So did that really just enlighten everybody about really the importance of what this is? It seems simple, but also for myself, for Debbie, for anybody who would be a medical responder for an emergency, because this might shock people, but I don't know every individual, even in this room's medical conditions. We might respond and eyeball this, and a couple of things might give us a direction right away, and that's the same thing as how the EMTs who respond, okay? So a little information, like she said, when we call 911, and all of you can call 911 if you have an emergency, and you know in your heart that you should be calling, don't call somebody else and ask. Call 911 and call the desk and say you have 911 coming, and then somebody, either my department or security department, will respond and be there with you, waiting for them to respond, okay? So I say that because we all have an inkling. And sometimes we don't like what that inkling's telling us, but listen to it. The worst thing is it's a foul ball and you don't have to go, okay?
And we're happy. If it's a foul ball, that's fine. But we want to come here and help you. We want to be there for you. And that's what we're here for.
So that's important for you guys to empower yourselves to call 911 when you know it's necessary, okay? So important thing is there's this information on here. It asks for your address. And so like she's saying, every entity on this campus, east, west, the health center, and the sales office all have a separate address, okay? So that's important. That's going to tell them the building right away, and then your floor and your apartment number, okay? So if I go up and I call 911 and I say 23053, I'm in apartment F4025, they know where to go. It's activated by the phone number, correct?
If they have a landline, if they call by cell phone, you have to provide your address. So if you call from your landline, if you have a landline phone, we receive your address and it will pop up automatically. When you call from your cell phone, we do not have an address or location. You must provide it for us to get it into the system. So when you're seniors, we really, yes, it costs more, but we really prefer you having a landline, because what happens if you hit 911 and you pass out on your cell phone? We're going to have very difficult, because you're inside a building most likely, and interference with GPS. We won't know which building you're in possibly. So if you have access and can afford landline phones, I recommend that. I'm not gonna tell you you have to have it, but I recommend it.
So I just learned something. So, back when, the olden days when I was here before nobody had cell phones, it was only through the landline. And so I've always known that activated the system. I've never thought about if it's a cell phone, so that is good information. We all learned something today, is we have to provide that address. All right?
And, just popped out my head. Cell phones. Some of you guys have cell phones that you had up in another state. So it still has your old phone number. Call 911. Your cell phone hits the tower that's closest to you and directs the phone call to our PSAPs. It is not based on your area code. We just recently had somebody who called, she was visiting in Charlotte County. Her sister was having an episode in Michigan, and her sister was in Michigan, she was visiting here, her phone had an area code up there. She went through the trouble and delay of looking up my supervisor's phone number, not even the dispatch phone number, not even the main sheriff's office, E911's office number, which is not a 24/7 answered phone. We're only there Monday through Friday. Luckily, my boss happened to be at her office. She's not there this week, so if it happened this week, the lady would have been in trouble. But she was afraid she wouldn't get Charlotte County E911 or 911 if she called 911 because her phone was from a different area code. Your cell phones will call and will get directed to the nearest wireless tower, which is routed to Charlotte County Sheriff's Office. So don't worry about not reaching 911 because you have an out-of-state phone number. It will reach us.
Make sense to everybody? Okay, so 2 people can be on this form. Okay, so that you know that. Husband and wife, couples, 2 people in one apartment can be on one form, all right? So this is a wonderful program through the county. Like she said, we used to in the old days, and you might still see a couple people who have lived here a long time, that we did put the red dots on the front doors, and that was to give a visual to the EMTs who were responding that this was a participant of the red dot program. And that then triggers them to look at the first place on the refrigerator for your magnet. So only because the red dots were getting put in crazy places, we don't use them, okay? But we all know to look at the refrigerator. So the next step that we're going to take this here at Southport is we're going to have also an additional red folder program, which is going to be, again, totally up to you if you would like to participate. We are going to put in everybody's in-house mailbox a red folder. And we are asking that if you want to, you can have copies of a do not resuscitate, power of attorney, healthcare surrogate, a living will, anything that you would like somebody to have easy access to versus having to struggle and maybe somebody calling, a daughter calling from out of state and saying, I know my mom has a living will, can you go look in her file cabinet? And it's not that I won't make that attempt, but it's very difficult, and I found out some of you have 5 file cabinets, so this is going to make it easy. We're going to keep the copies, anything that you want us to have. Another thing would probably be good, a copy of a medication list, just in case could be in here, okay? Copies, not originals, that you can put in this folder, and then we're going to put this folder on top of the refrigerator so that we're keeping this simple. It's all in one place. In an emergency situation, I can look on the refrigerator and find out medical information. Like she said, sometimes the EMTs will take that. This information isn't going to be anything that anybody's going to take with them. This is going to be much more information. Let's say you're admitted to the hospital and they want to know that you have told them that you have a do not resuscitate. They're going to want to see that, so that I can go, that's no problem. I'll go look on top of the refrigerator, okay? If it's not on the refrigerator, then it takes other steps, and in some situations, this information, it isn't a matter of we got a lot of time to get this information. So, red folder program, we'll put these in your in-house mailboxes. You can put copies of all of these things and other things if you would like. And if you keep them on top of the refrigerator, we will all know where to look for them. Okay? This probably looks really weird taping this, and I keep holding this over my head.
The thing is, the medication list, keep it in the red pouch. The fire department is not going to know about that red folder. We do not want anybody coming in that's not with this organization knowing about that red folder. So keep a copy of your medication list in the red pouch with the form. And you can keep an additional copy in that red, just in case it gets lost in transit, so she has it, but always keep your medication list. And you got to press hard enough. If you cannot press hard enough to get through both copies, take the copies apart. Fill out one, and then fill out the second copy. That way it's legible. And please, here's another thing. Print. The younger generation, they don't know how to read cursive. So let's make it easy on them. Let's print. Plus, that way I don't misspell your name by interpreting a letter that I can't read. Which I have found a couple while my volunteer was calling, she mispronounced names because I had it typed differently than what their name was, because I couldn't read it. I was guessing what their name was. We tried to do our best to get this into the program.
So everybody here, again, it's the Red Dot program. For all the new move-ins, that's part of Debbie's introduction to the new residents who move in, is she takes the red dot to them and explains what that process is. If you do go out 911 and they take your copy, you contact Debbie Link at extension 290, and she'll get you a new form. And if for medical reasons, or maybe your handwriting, you don't feel as legible, we will assist you in filling it out if you're unable to do it in a manner that is legible for 911 staff to read, okay? So I'm gonna open it up. Has anybody got any questions?
Do you have anything to give out now?
A red dot form?
Now?
We'll come to your apartment with it. You're on our list of new folks to get it for a new address, okay?
Don't give us anything now.
No, not today.
Appointment, I have to go.
Okay, we will get it to you.
Thank you.
Any other questions from anybody? Yes, ma'am.
Could we possibly put a note in the pouch that there's the red folder on top?
So the question was, can we put a note where the red dot folder is? So like Diane said, this form is for the EMS folks, and it's really the only thing that we would want them to take. If there was like some sort of special information that you felt was necessary for somebody to know that might grab this, but otherwise the staff here who would utilize this is going to know where it's at, okay? This is to just kind of streamline a few things that we've seen over the years in the past of things that people are either looking for or everybody has it in a different place. So putting it in one place, I mean, I could just tell you now, I could be going to your apartment to deliver flowers, and I'm going to glance at your refrigerator to see if you have a red dot, because that's how ingrained it is in me, knowing that that's what I'm going to be looking for. I might respond to your apartment, and by the time I'm responding, you can't verbally tell me anything. And I could at least glance at this and go, oh, I forgot Mary's a diabetic. And that there could streamline my information and on down the line of getting you the appropriate care. Okay? Does that make sense?
Because they could possibly, like, I'm a diabetic. First thing I would want is someone to test my blood sugar to see if it's too low or too high. And before EMS get, you don't treat them. Okay. Sorry. But that's the process, is that you tell them that you're diabetic, and Fire EMS can treat you, and they'll be testing your sugar as soon as they get there. That's because you put you're diabetic, that's one of the things they're gonna check for. And they'll give you whatever you need. So that's the reason for the form. If you have seizures, you mark down here that you have seizures. That tells them, okay, they probably are on seizure medication, and there's certain medications that you can't give with seizures and stuff. So all these critical things are helpful in how they respond and treat you before they get you to the hospital.
Is it important not being a pure diabetic or being in the pre-diabetic stage? Is that important to know or not?
So the question on here are just yes or no's. And if I would say, the question is if you've been diagnosed a pre-diabetic. I would mark yes, just because that is more information than less.
And the thing is there's two questions under diabetic. There's two questions. There's one, are you a diabetic? And then there's a question, do you take insulin? All right, so yes, you're pre-diabetic, put yes for diabetic, but you're not on insulin yet. So you answer no, you're not on insulin. And that's the key is, okay, if she's diabetic and on insulin, they'll handle that a different way than just pre-diabetic.
It's not called insulin, that I think it's FAM, something or other, that my wife's on is for the treatment of pre-diabetic is.
That's not insulin.
So that's not insulin, but there is a section for medications. And when you list that, that's going to tell them the difference in that situation, okay? So this section isn't really big for medications. And so like Diane has said, having a separate medication list is sometimes important in some people's situations. And certain types of medications that you're on, the dosage might change frequently. So that might be another reason to have a separate medication list, okay? But there is available space on the form for medications, okay?
And if you have allergy, if you are allergic to certain medication, there is a small little line for that. If you cannot fit all your allergies in there, attach a separate sheet, label medication allergies, and we will scan that as a separate form if you attach it to the packet. So what you'll do is you'll make a separate copy of that, just like the medication list. You'll give me the form, you'll give me the secondary medication list, and you'll give me a copy of your allergy list if it's a long list. Most people put their medication at the top and their allergies at the bottom on the second form.
Yes, Dawn?
Can you just reiterate to the viewers how often this should be updated?
So, as Diane has explained, every 2 years, somebody from her department will call and verify that this is current, but they would ideally like that you send in a new one once a year, okay? I have went to apartments and these are 10 years old. There's no way that's current, but some people forget the importance of this. So, best case scenario, you check that every once in a while and see the date and realize, wow, this is outdated. Or really, if nothing has changed, then there's nothing wrong with waiting for the call
No.
that says
Just
nothing
don't
has
hang up on
changed.
us.
Okay? And I think that's important to understand the diligence of this program, that they have a department that calls to verify this information, okay? So every year is nice. Every 2 years, somebody will call and verify that this is still current. Any other things you can think of, Dawn?
Not off the top of my head.
The attached medication list. Now, you say you want a copy of that when it's sent in. Now, if that changes, would we just,
So the question is changes in medications and how to notify the EMTs.
We just want your list initial. They are going to always ask you, do you have a current list? So you will always keep your list current, and then if you send in a new form every year, you give us the new current list, is how we would like it. You don't have to call us and say, hey, this medication's changed. Like I said, we can't change it. But we also don't want you wasting your time having to fill out the whole form over and over just for a medication change.
So does that make sense to everybody? There's a lot of standard stuff on here that probably would never change, but your medications can change. So keeping your own updated list is always a good idea. Yes, ma'am.
Are prescription meds sufficient, or do you need the over-the-counter miscellaneous that we take?
So the question is just prescription meds or vitamins, supplements, and so forth. So from a medical standpoint, I would say all of them, okay? Because there might be something interacting there that you're not realizing could be causing the whole reason why we're there, okay? So more information the better. What we don't need, okay? But if you supply it, then it's there for somebody to review. Other questions? All right, everybody. I appreciate everybody's attendance. I know we'll have some viewers on the in-house, and be looking for your red dot to be coming in your in-house mail. Thank you.